Hello everyone, my name is Abby with Hyde Park Presbyterian Church, and today we are here for another Bible lesson. As we talk today, we're going to be continuing to hear about the story of David. And as we hear this story today, we're actually going to be learning about a time when he makes a great friend. Have you ever had a good friend in your life? I want you to think about what sort of things a good friend might do for you. What might a good friend say? How would you act if you were being a good friend to someone else? Maybe they help you solve your problems, or they have fun with you, or they make you feel good about yourself. Good friends are hard to come by, but if you have one in your life, I hope that you cherish them. Today, as we read our story, I want you to listen to how David becomes a good friend and how Jonathan shows that friendship to him. Let's hear today. Our story today comes from 1 Samuel chapter 18, 19, and 20. It says this: After David had killed Goliath, David went to live with King Saul. That's when David and Jonathan became friends. Jonathan was King Saul's son. Jonathan said, "I love you, David. Let's be friends." Jonathan loved David so much that he gave him gifts like a robe, a tunic, a sword, a bow, and a belt. King Saul sent David on to fight in many battles. He even put David in charge of other soldiers. Every time King Saul gave David a job to do, David did the job well. When King Saul, David, and the army were returning from battle, a woman greeted them and sang about their victories. She sang about how Saul had been very victorious in battle, but David had been even more victorious. And this made Saul angry. He was king after all. King Saul became jealous of David. One day, David was playing his harp for King Saul. All of a sudden, King Saul picked up a spear and threw it at David. David jumped aside just in time. The king threw the spear again, but that spear didn't hit David either. Everything David did was successful because God was with him. All the people loved David too. This made Saul even more jealous of David. King Saul kept trying to kill David. He sent David into battles when he thought David would be killed. He told his servants and even his son Jonathan to kill David, but Jonathan was David's friend. Jonathan said, "David, be on the lookout for danger. My father is trying to kill you." Jonathan even talked to his father to try and persuade him not to kill David. But one day, David was playing the harp for King Saul when Saul tried again to kill David with a spear. That's when David ran away. But Jonathan was still David's friend. David and Jonathan said, "We promise that we will always be friends." And they were. David was glad that God had given him such a good friend as Jonathan. All right, for our Bible review today, I want you to think back on the story we just heard. If at any point you want to pause the video and talk further, feel free. But I have 3 questions for you that I want to ask about what we just listened to. The first one is this: who was Jonathan in the story? Who was Jonathan? Well, we find out that not only was Jonathan the son of King Saul, the person in charge of all of the Israelites, but he was also David's best friend. And in the story, we hear about how they become friends. The second question is this: what did King Saul want in the story? What did he want? Well, as we read further in the story, we start to find out that King Saul was getting jealous of David. People would talk about his victories more than the king's, and the king was very upset about this. So he got so angry and jealous that he wanted to kill him. He started throwing spears at him. He started asking other people to kill him, and in fact, he would even send him out into battle, hoping that he would die. That was not very good. So my third question is this: how did Jonathan show that he was being a good friend to David? what did Jonathan do that showed he was being a good friend to David? Well, in the story, we learn that not only did he do nice things to David, he said things like, "I love you, let's be friends." He gave him gifts, but he also made the choice not to be jealous of David like his father was, but instead turn around and actually keep him safe. When there was a problem, he made sure that he was going to keep his best friend safe no matter what was going on, even though his father was after him. And that really showed that he cared about David and he truly wanted to be his friend. When we read this story, we were reminded of our Bible memory verse, which says this: "Our help is in the name of the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth." So in this story, thank goodness there was someone like Jonathan in David's life. God may have even led Jonathan and David to be together because he wanted to make sure that David was safe. Let's always remember that God has our best interest at heart, and he wants us to be safe and be well loved by our friends and family. I hope that you find a good friend in your life and keep them safe and make sure that you show your friendship and love to them in return. I hope you have a great week, everyone. Bye.